Wow. Thank you so much, Baruch. I noticed you didn't, or could you talk about shortly after, let me go back. Hi, welcome everybody. Thanks for being here. If you joined a little bit late, Congregation Beth Medrash welcomes you. I see a lot of names I don't recognize, so I think there's a lot of guests. I'm guessing from Baruch. Baruch might have invited, or some of you might have invited some other people to join us, which is great. Baruch, you didn't talk about the find in Israel yet, which must have been mind-blowing for you.
It was absolutely amazing. It was absolutely amazing. There have been very few, you can imagine, to find any kind of garment, any kind of fabric that's more than 100 years old is ridiculously rare in archaeological terms. To find something 1,000 years old or 2,000 years old is almost impossible. This find that they found at Timna was 3,000 years old. And it was made with our snail. Again, there are ways to actually test to see if this is our snail or if it's not. This particular cloth that they found at Timna, which is again 3,000 years old, just to put it in context, this is the time of David HaMelech. David HaMelech was about 1000 BCE, Shlomo his son 950, and so we're talking about something from the time of David HaMelech. And it's purple, again, dyed with our snail. It's still extremely, extremely important as a find, even though it's not blue. There was something that was found and actually analyzed by Nama Sukenik, the scientist who did this, who did the analysis of this Timna find. She found, or she did the analysis on something that was found in Wadi Morbat in the desert, kind of just east of Malay Adumim. There are some caves there. Those caves were inhabited by Bar Kokhba. This is only 2,000 years old, not 3,000 years old. But there was a little piece of fabric that was found and also examined by Nama, and that was blue. So we have blue shellfish dyed in Eretz Israel. We have purple shellfish dyed, 2,000 years old, 3,000 years old. And this is a fascinating, fascinating thing that we can find. It means that the technology for dyeing with these snails existed in Eretz Israel, in our area, all throughout the time of Tanakh, all throughout the time of the Mishnah and the Talmud. And so it's a very, very important indication, hard to say proof, I'm going to be scientific, but it's very, very important indication that these snails were used in those times for argaman and for Tekhelet. It actually also says something interesting. It tells us, you know, when the find came out a few years ago from the Wadi Morbat cave of this blue fabric that's 2,000 years old and was dyed with our snail. So people said, oh, you know what? There must be some process. They didn't know how to make Tekhelet in those days from snails because the blue issue, remember, it was only exposing it to the sun at a very, very specific stage. So the ancient dyers could not have known that. They weren't as smart as we are. Many people say this. I don't believe them. I think they were way smarter than we were. But the ancient dyers, you know, they were ancient. So they couldn't have understood how to make blue. They could have only understood how to make purple. What do you do when you find a blue fabric from 2,000 years ago? So it's not the ancients that now are the people who look foolish, but it's the people who say that the ancients were foolish who look foolish. But what is the answer that we've heard many, many times? You don't understand. There's some process that we don't know about, which will turn purple into blue over thousands of years. So when you find this piece from Timna, which is 1,000 years predating the blue fabric that was found, and it's still absolutely beautiful purple, then that idea that there are some processes that will turn purple into blue over thousands of years doesn't make any sense anymore. So this is a very, very important find. Anything that shows that Tekhelet, argaman, was being used in the ancient world, dyed with these snails, is an incredible piece, another brick in the wall of evidence that leads one to believe that these snails, the Murex trunculus and the other Murex snails, were the source of the ancient Tekhelet called the Chilazon by the Talmud.